My daughter-in-law looked me dead in the eye and called me a burden. Then my son, my own son, stood there and nodded. 3 weeks later, I lost the house I paid on for 37 years. Let me tell you how it happened. I'm 62 years old. Raised 3 children by myself after their daddy died when my youngest was only 7. Worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices at night, doing hair during the day, just to keep the lights on. My knees are shot from all those years on hard floors. My hands ache when it rains. But I did it. I kept us together. My son Marcus was always my rock. The oldest, the one who promised he'd take care of me when I got older. Mama, when I make it, you won't have to work anymore, he used to say. I believed him. He did make it. Got himself a good job in finance, married Vanessa, pretty girl, educated, came from money. They had 2 beautiful babies. I was so proud I could have burst. That's when things started changing. It was small at first. Vanessa would correct the way I talked in front of the kids. It's ask, not ax, Grandma. She smiled when she said it, but her eyes stayed cold. I just nod and keep quiet. Didn't want to cause trouble. Then they started canceling Sunday dinners. Always had some excuse. The kids had activities. They were tired. They needed family time. Just the 4 of them, you understand. I wasn't included in that family anymore. My chest would get tight every time Marcus made those calls. Maybe next week, Ma. But next week never came. Now listen, I know what you're thinking. Maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe they really were just busy. That's what I told myself too. I prayed on it. Asked God to help me be understanding. But then my husband's life insurance money ran out. See, when Robert died, he left me with enough to get by if I was careful. That money had been sitting there for 20 years. My safety net. I'd add a little here and there when I could. It wasn't much, maybe $40,000 by then. But it was mine. Marcus knew about it. He'd helped me set up the account back when I didn't understand all that computer banking. One Saturday morning, he showed up at my door without calling first. That should have been my first sign. Marcus always called. He had papers in his hand. Ma, we need to talk about your finances, he said, walking past me into my kitchen. Didn't even hug me hello, just sat down at my table like he owned the place. I poured him coffee, the good kind I save for company. My hands were already shaking, and I didn't even know why yet. What's wrong, baby? I asked. He spread those papers out on my yellow tablecloth. Vanessa and I have been talking. You getting older. What if something happens to you? What if you fall or get sick or... I'm fine, I interrupted. Doctor says my pressure's a little high, but I'm managing. That's exactly the point. He wouldn't look at me, just kept shuffling those papers. You need help managing things. We think it's time you added me to your bank accounts, just as a safety measure. My stomach dropped. Added you to my accounts? As a co-owner. So if you need help, I can access the funds, pay your bills, make sure you're taken care of. I wrung my hands in my lap. Marcus, I pay my own bills. I've been paying my own bills since before you were born. But what if you can't? His voice got sharp. What if you're in the hospital? What if you forget? You're not getting any younger, Ma. There it was, that tone. Like I was already incompetent, like I was already gone. I'm 62 years old, not 90. I can still think, I can still manage a checkbook. But sitting there in my own kitchen with my son looking at me like I was a child, I started doubting myself. I don't know, I said quietly. He sighed, loud, like I was frustrating him. It's just a precaution. Don't you trust me? That question hit different. Don't you trust me?
After everything I did, after I raised him, fed him, put him through college, he was asking if I trusted him? Of course I trust you, I whispered. Then sign the papers. I should have said no. Lord, I should have said no right then. But he was my son, my baby boy, the one I used to rock to sleep singing, "His eye is on the sparrow." I signed. He left 10 minutes later, barely touched his coffee.
3 weeks went by. I didn't hear from him. Not a phone call, not a text, nothing. Then I went to the grocery store on a Thursday afternoon. My debit card got declined. I tried again. Declined. The cashier looked at me with pity. "Do you have another form of payment, ma'am?" My face burned. There were people behind me in line. I could feel them staring at me. "Let me call my bank," I said, stepping aside. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely dial. The automated system told me my balance, $287.42. I'd had over $40,000 3 weeks ago. I couldn't breathe. Right there in Kroger, holding a gallon of milk and a box of oatmeal, I thought I might faint. Had to sit down on one of those benches by the door. Called Marcus, straight to voicemail. Called again, voicemail. Sent a text, "What happened to my money?" Nothing. I drove home crying so hard I had to pull over twice. When I got there, I just sat in my driveway. Couldn't even make myself go inside my own house. What would you have done? You tell me. That night, Marcus finally called back. "Ma, calm down. Where is my money?" My voice cracked. "Marcus, where did it go?" He borrowed it. Borrowed. Like it was his to borrow. "You borrowed $40,000 without asking me?" "I was going to tell you." "When were you going to tell me? After I couldn't pay my light bill? After I couldn't buy food?" "It's an investment, Ma, a business opportunity. I'll pay you back with interest. This is good for both of us. I didn't agree to any investment. That's my money. That's all I have." Silence on the other end. Then, "Legally, it's our money now. You signed the papers." My whole body went cold. "You tricked me." "He didn't trick you. You made me a co-owner. That means I have just as much right to it as you do." "But it was mine." "Look, I don't have time for this drama. Vanessa and I are trying to build something here. You should be happy for us. This investment is going to triple your money."
"When? What? When will I get it back?" He hesitated. 18 months, maybe 2 years. 2 years. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but hold that phone to my ear while my son, my baby, the one I sacrificed everything for, told me he'd taken every penny I had and I'd have to wait 2 years to maybe get it back. "Marcus, I gotta go. We'll talk later." He hung up. I sat on my couch in the dark, didn't turn on any lights, just sat there until the sun came up, trying to figure out how my life had turned into this. You still with me? Because it gets worse. I didn't sleep that night, just kept replaying every moment, signing those papers, trusting him, believing he wanted to help me. My chest hurt, my head hurt, everything hurt. By morning, I'd made a decision. I was going to their house. We were going to sit down like family and figure this out. I got dressed in my Navy church dress, the one that makes me look put together, fixed my hair, put on my good shoes even though they pinch my toes. I wanted to look dignified, wanted them to remember I'm still somebody. It was a Saturday morning. I knew they'd be home. When I pulled up to their house, that big, beautiful house in the suburbs with the perfect lawn, I saw both their cars in the driveway. My heart was pounding. I said a little prayer before I got out. "Lord, give me strength." I rang the doorbell. Vanessa answered. She was in yoga pants and a tank top, holding a cup of coffee. Her face went from surprised to annoyed in about 2 seconds. Oh, hi. Not, hi, Mama. Not, come in. Just, oh, hi. I need to talk to Marcus, I said. My voice was steady. I was proud of that. She didn't move from the doorway. He's busy. It's important. We're having family time. There was that word again, family, like I wasn't part of it.
Vanessa, please, I just need 10 minutes. Is this about the money? She crossed her arms. Because Marcus already explained that to you. My hands clenched into fists at my sides. Explained? He took everything I had without asking. He didn't take anything. You gave him access. That's on you. I felt like she'd slapped me. That's on me? My voice was shaking now. I trusted him. I trusted my son. And maybe that was your first mistake. She said it so cold, so casual, like she was commenting on the weather. I heard footsteps behind her. Marcus appeared wearing a golf shirt and khakis, weekend clothes, comfortable clothes. He looked annoyed too. Ma, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? Marcus, you took my money. We already talked about this. No, you talked. I need that money back. I can't pay my bills. That's not my problem right now. He stepped closer to Vanessa, united front. You shouldn't have shown up here without calling. We have plans today. I stared at my son. Really looked at him. Tried to find the little boy who used to hold my hand in the grocery store. The teenager who cried in my arms when his daddy died. The young man who promised to take care of me. He was gone. This stranger had taken his place. Please, I whispered. I need help. Vanessa rolled her eyes, actually rolled her eyes at me. You know what your problem is? You're too dependent. You need to figure things out on your own instead of always leaning on Marcus. I raised him by myself. Exactly. And now it's time to let him go. Let us go. We have our own family to worry about. I'm his mother, and you're becoming a burden. There it was, that word, burden. I looked at Marcus, waited for him to defend me, to tell his wife she was wrong, to remember everything I'd done. He just stood there. Marcus? My voice broke. Ma, maybe she's right. Maybe you do need to be more independent. You rely on me too much. I don't rely on you. I never ask you for anything. You came to me with those papers, and you should have read them more carefully before signing. That's when I knew this wasn't about money. This wasn't about investments or business opportunities. They wanted me gone, out of their lives, out of their perfect little family picture. I backed away from the door. My legs felt weak. I understand, I said quietly. Good. Now maybe we can all move forward. No, I shook my head. I understand that I don't have a son anymore. Marcus flinched. First real emotion I'd seen from him all day. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic? You stole from me. You lied to me. And you stood there while your wife called me a burden. Tears were running down my face, but I kept my voice steady. I did everything for you, everything. And this is how you repay me? I turned and walked back to my car, heard the door close behind me before I even reached the driveway. Drove home in silence. No radio. No crying this time. Just silence. When I got home, I sat at my kitchen table, the same table where he tricked me into signing those papers, and I called my daughter. Kim was my middle child, lived 2 states away with her husband and 3 kids. We talked maybe once a month, but she was all I had left. Hey, Mama, I answered, sounding distracted. Can I call you back? I'm at soccer practice. Marcus took my money. Silence. Kim, what do you mean he took your money? I explained everything. The papers, the bank account, the $40,000. Her voice got quieter as I talked. And he won't give it back? She finally asked. Says I have to wait 2 years. Maybe. Mama, she sighed. Why would you sign papers without reading them? Not, I'm sorry that happened. Not, that's terrible. Just, why would you sign them? Because I trusted him. Because he's my son. Well, yeah, but Mama, you gotta be more careful. You can't just sign stuff without. Are you blaming me right now? I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying I'm 62 years old, not stupid. I know how to read. He lied to me, Kim. Your brother lied to me. Another sigh. Look, Marcus is under a lot of pressure. Vanessa has expensive taste. The kids are in private school. They just bought that house. Maybe he really does have an investment opportunity. Kim, and if you wait the 2 years, you might actually make money. Kim. She stopped talking. I need help. I have $200 in my account. My mortgage is due in 3 weeks. I can't. Mama, we can't help you financially. We're barely making it ourselves. I'm not asking for money. I'm asking. I don't know what I'm asking. I just need someone to care. Long pause. I care, Mama, but I can't get in the middle of whatever is going on between you and Marcus. That's between y'all. My youngest son, David, said almost the same thing when I called him the next day. He was my baby, the one I thought would understand. Ma, I love you, but I can't take sides. I'm not asking you to take sides. It sounds like you are. Look, Marcus has always been good with money. If he says it's an investment, it probably is. David, he didn't ask me. Maybe he didn't think you'd understand. No offense, but you're not exactly business savvy. There it was again, that tone, like I'm too old, too simple, too dumb to understand my own life. I understand that my son stole from me. That's harsh, Ma. He didn't steal. You gave him access. I hung up. Couldn't listen anymore. 3 children, 3 phone calls, 3 times being told it was somehow my fault. Tell me, would you have felt abandoned? Because that's what I felt, completely, utterly abandoned. The next week, I tried to figure out my bills, cut back on everything, no cable, no internet, canceled my phone plan, and got one of those cheap prepaid phones. Stopped taking my blood pressure medicine because I couldn't afford it. Started eating 1 meal a day. My neighbor, Miss Patricia, noticed. She's 70-something, lives alone like me, brought me groceries one afternoon. Baby, you losing weight, she said, setting bags on my counter. When's the last time you ate? I started crying right there in my kitchen. This woman who barely knew me showed more kindness than my own children. She held me while I sobbed, didn't ask questions, just let me cry. Can you believe that? 2 months went by, no word from Marcus, no word from Kim or David either. It was like I didn't exist anymore. My mortgage payment bounced, the bank called me 3 times a day. I stopped answering. Then, one Tuesday morning, I found a letter in my mailbox, official-looking thing from a law office. My hand shook as I opened it. Foreclosure proceedings. I had 90 days to catch up on payments or the bank would take my house. The house Robert and I bought when Marcus was just a baby. The house where I raised all 3 of my children. The house I'd scrubbed floors and worked double shifts to keep. They were going to take it. I called Marcus, left a voicemail. Your mother is about to lose a house. Call me back. Nothing. Called again the next day and the next. By the end of the week, his number was disconnected. Or maybe he blocked me. Either way, my son was gone. I tried Kim again. Mama, I told you we can't help financially. I'm going to be homeless, Kim. Silence. Well, maybe you could downsize, get an apartment or something. With what money? I can't even afford groceries.
I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to care. I was crying now. I want you to act like I'm your mother and not some stranger on the street. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? My voice got loud. I couldn't help it. I worked myself to the bone for you kids. Wore the same 3 dresses for 5 years so you can have new school clothes. Ate peanut butter sandwiches so you can have real meals. And now I'm begging for help and you can't even? Mama, you're being manipulative. I stopped breathing. What? This guilt trip thing, it's manipulative. We didn't ask you to sacrifice. You chose that. I chose to be a mother, and we're grateful, but that doesn't mean we owe you everything forever. We have our own lives now. She said it so matter of fact, like she was explaining why she couldn't come to a birthday party. I hung up, sat on my couch staring at nothing. My daughter just called me manipulative for asking for help? Lord have mercy. The bank kept calling. The letters kept coming. I stopped opening them. What was the point? Miss Patricia came over one afternoon with a casserole. You doing okay, baby? She asked, setting the dish on my counter. I wanted to lie, say everything was fine, but I was so tired of pretending. I'm losing my house. She pulled out a chair and sat down heavy. Oh, honey, my son took my savings, my kids won't help me, and in 90 days, I'll be on the street. What about other family, church family? I shook my head. Haven't been to church in months. Too ashamed. And my sister passed 2 years ago. Robert's family stopped talking to me after he died. Said I remarried too quick. I laughed, but it came out bitter. I never remarried at all, but they didn't care about the truth. Miss Patricia reached across the table and held my hand. Her skin was soft, papery, reminded me of my own mama's hands before she passed.
You can't give up, she said. I'm tired. I know you are, but you're still here. That means God's not done with you yet. I wanted to believe her, but sitting in that kitchen with foreclosure papers on my table and children who didn't care if I lived or died, I couldn't find any faith left. The next Sunday, I did something I hadn't done in 20 years. I went to the house where Marcus and Vanessa lived, parked across the street, and waited. I know how that sounds, but I needed to see my grandchildren, needed to know they were okay, needed to see some part of my family that might still remember me. Around 10 o'clock, they came out, all dressed up for church, probably. The kids looked so big. My grandson was almost as tall as Marcus now. My granddaughter had her hair in braids with little beads that clicked when she moved. They looked happy. I watched them pile into their SUV, watched Marcus help Vanessa with her coat, watched them drive away to their perfect Sunday morning. And I realized something sitting there in my old Toyota with the crack in the windshield. They didn't need me. Maybe they never did. I drove home, pulled into my driveway, and just sat there looking at my house. The porch where Robert used to sit drinking sweet tea on summer nights. The window where I used to watch for the kids' school bus. The door I'd painted yellow because it made me smile. All of it going away. That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Stop driving by our house. Vanessa saw you. If you do it again, we're calling the police. Marcus. He'd gotten a new number just so he wouldn't have to talk to me. I texted back, I just wanted to see the kids. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, you're not allowed around them anymore. You're unstable. Unstable. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped the phone, had to pick it up off the floor. I tried calling the number, blocked. I tried calling Kim, straight to voicemail. David, same thing. They'd all coordinated, all decided together that I was the problem, the burden, the unstable one. I don't remember much about that night, just that I cried until I couldn't cry anymore, until my throat was raw, my eyes were swollen shut. When I woke up the next morning, I felt empty, not sad, not angry, just empty. Like someone has scooped out everything inside me and left just the shell. I stopped answering the phone, stopped checking the mail, stopped eating Miss Patricia casseroles, even though she kept bringing them. Just existed, day after day. Then one afternoon, 63 days after that foreclosure letter arrived, someone knocked on my door. I almost didn't answer, but something made me get up, made me walk to that door and open it. A woman stood there, young, maybe 30, black woman with kind eyes and a messenger bag over her shoulder. "Mrs. Thompson?" she asked. "Yes." "My name is Angela Rivers. I'm a social worker with the County Elder Services." She smiled gently. "Your neighbor, Patricia Williams, called us. She's concerned about you. May I come in?" I should have been embarrassed, should have been angry that Miss Patricia called strangers on me. But instead, I just stepped aside and let her in. We sat at my kitchen table, the same table where Marcus had betrayed me, the same table where I had cried so many tears these past months. Angela didn't judge, didn't lecture, just listened while I told her everything. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Mrs. Thompson, what happened to you is called financial elder abuse, and it's illegal." I blinked. Illegal? Your son had no right to take that money without your explicit permission, co-owner or not. And your children calling you unstable, isolating you from your grandchildren, that's emotional abuse. Nobody had ever said those words to me before. Abuse. It felt wrong somehow, like I was exaggerating. But Angela's face was serious.
There are resources, she continued. Legal aid, emergency funds, housing assistance. You don't have to lose your home. For the first time in months, I felt something other than emptiness. I felt a tiny spark of hope. "What do I do?" I whispered. Angela opened her messenger bag and pulled out papers. Real papers this time. Not tricks, not traps. "First," she said, "we fight. You still with me? Because this is where everything changed." Angela wasn't playing around. Within a week, she had me connected with a lawyer who specialized in elder law, a woman named Dorothy Chen, sharp as a tack. Couldn't have been more than 40 years old, but she looked at my case like it made her personally angry. "This is textbook financial elder abuse," Dorothy said, sitting across from me in her office. "Your son created a fraudulent scenario to gain access to your funds. That's theft, Mrs. Thompson." "But I signed the papers." "Under false pretenses. He told you it was for safety, for access in emergencies, not so he could drain your account for a business investment you never agreed to." She leaned forward. "We're going to get your money back." I wanted to believe her, but hope felt dangerous now. "What if we can't?" I asked quietly. "Then we make sure he faces consequences anyway." Dorothy filed an emergency motion, something about financial elder abuse, and requesting the court freeze any remaining funds. I didn't understand all the legal talk, but I understood this. Someone was finally on my side. 2 weeks later, Marcus got served with papers at his job. I know because Kim called me for the first time in months. She was furious. "Mama, what did you do?" "I got a lawyer." "You're suing Marcus? Your own son?" My chest got tight, but I kept my voice steady. "Your own brother stole from me. $40,000. It wasn't stealing. You gave him access.
Stop saying that. I was yelling now. Couldn't help it. Stop defending him. He lied to me. He manipulated me. And then he called me unstable and kept my grandchildren away from me.
Because you were acting crazy, driving by their house? I wanted to see my grandchildren one time. You're tearing this family apart. I laughed. Couldn't help it. The sound came out harsh and broken. I'm tearing it apart. Kim, this family fell apart the second your brother decided I was worth less than $40,000. I'm just the only one willing to admit it. Silence. Then, David and I talked. If you go through with this lawsuit, we're done. All of us. You'll never see any of us again. My heart stopped. You're giving me an ultimatum? We're setting boundaries. You can either drop this and we can all move forward, or you can keep playing victim and lose your entire family. Playing victim. I closed my eyes, took a breath. Then, I guess I'm losing my family, I said quietly, because I'm not dropping this. Kim hung up without saying goodbye. I sat there holding my cheap prepaid phone, shaking. But underneath the fear, underneath the heartbreak, there was something else. Strength. For the first time in months, maybe years, I was standing up for myself. The legal process took 4 months, 4 long months of court dates and depositions and paperwork. Dorothy was a warrior. She tore apart Marcus's claims, proved he'd used my money for personal expenses, not investments. Showed the judge bank statements proving he brought a new car, paid off credit cards, taken a vacation to the Bahamas. My $40,000 gone on luxury and debt. Marcus showed up to court in an expensive suit, Vanessa beside him looking like she'd swallow something bitter. They wouldn't look at me. When the judge made her ruling, I could barely breathe. Mr. Thompson, you are hereby ordered to repay your mother the full amount of $40,000 within 90 days. Additionally, you will pay her legal fees and a penalty of $5,000 for financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Marcus's face went pale. Vanessa grabbed his arm. The judge wasn't finished. I find your conduct reprehensible, Mr. Thompson. Your mother worked hard for that money. She trusted you, and you violated that trust in the most fundamental way. She looked directly at him. You should be ashamed. He was. I could see it in the way his shoulders slumped, the way he couldn't meet anyone's eyes. But shame doesn't pay back stolen money. After court, Dorothy walked me to my car. You did it, she said, smiling. You stood up for yourself. Will he actually pay? He doesn't have a choice. If he doesn't pay within 90 days, we can garnish his wages, put liens on his property. We'll get your money back, Mrs. Thompson. I nodded, but I felt hollow. Yes, I won, but I'd lost something too. My children. True to Kim's word, none of them contacted me after the ruling. No calls, no texts, nothing. I saved my house. The money came through in 73 days. Marcus liquidated some stocks to pay me, every penny, plus the penalty, plus legal fees. Angela helped me set up a new bank account at a different bank. This time, nobody's name was on it but mine. Miss Patricia threw me a little celebration, just the two of us sitting on her porch with sweet tea and pound cake. You did good, baby, she said. I lost my family. No, she shook her head firmly. You lost people who were willing to abuse you and call it love. That's not family. But they're my children, and you're their mother. You deserve their respect, their protection, their love. She reached over and squeezed my hand. What you got instead was exploitation and manipulation. Cutting that off doesn't make you the bad guy. It makes you smart. I wanted to believe her. Some days I do. Some days I wake up and I feel strong, free, like I escaped something toxic and came out the other side. Other days, I wake up crying, missing my grandchildren, missing the family I thought I had. It's been 8 months now since the court ruling. I'm still in my house, still paying my bills. My blood pressure's under control again. It turned out the stress was making it worse than the actual condition. I started going back to church. Small one, not the big fancy church where Marcus's family goes. Met some good people. Joined a quilting group for senior women. We meet every Thursday. Last month, David sent me a text. Just one line. "Happy birthday, Ma." I stared at that text for an hour. Didn't respond. What would I even say? Kim hasn't reached out at all. Neither has Marcus. Sometimes I drive by their neighborhood. Not their house, just the neighborhood. And I wonder if they ever think about me. If my grandchildren ask where I am. If Marcus ever lies awake at night feeling guilty. Probably not. People don't like to face what they've done. Easier to make me the villain, the crazy mother who sued her own son, the burden who wouldn't just disappear quietly. But you know what? I'm still here. 63 years old now. Survived my husband's death, raised 3 children alone, worked myself to the bone, lost everything, and clawed my way back. I'm still here. And I'm not ashamed anymore. Not of fighting for myself, not of standing up when my own children tried to push me down, not of choosing my dignity over their comfort. Miss Patricia says I'm brave. Angela, my social worker, says I'm an inspiration. She uses my case as an example when she talks to other elders about financial abuse. Dorothy says I'm a fighter. I don't know if I'm any of those things. Most days I just feel tired. But I'm also free. Free from pretending everything's okay when it's not. Free from shrinking myself to make other people comfortable. Free from believing I'm the problem when I'm actually the victim. Would I have done it differently if I could go back? Maybe. Maybe I would have never signed those papers. Maybe I would have stood up to Vanessa the first time she disrespected me. Maybe I would have taught my children better. Taught them that love isn't just words, it's action. But I can't go back. None of us can.
All I can do is move forward. Last week, a woman from my quilting group, Miss Ernestine, she's 76, told me her daughter was pressuring her to sell her house and move in with her. But Miss Ernestine doesn't want to. She's afraid of losing her independence. I looked her in the eye and said, "Don't sign anything you don't want to sign. Don't let anybody pressure you. And if they call you selfish for protecting yourself, that's on them, not you." She teared up, hugged me tight. "Thank you," she whispered. I needed to hear that. Maybe that's why I went through all this. Not just for me, but so I could tell other women, other mothers, other grandmothers that it's okay to stand up. It's okay to fight back. It's okay to choose yourself, even when it costs you everything. I still have moments where I wonder if I did the right thing, wonder if I should have just kept quiet, let Marcus keep the money, played nice so I wouldn't lose my children. But then I remember Vanessa's face when she called me a burden. I remember Marcus standing there silent while his wife destroyed me. I remember Kim and David choosing their brother over truth, comfort over justice. And I know I did the right thing. Because I'd rather be alone and respected than surrounded by people who treat me like garbage. I wish it didn't have to be that way. I wish my children loved me the way I loved them, the way I still love them even now. I wish my grandchildren knew their grandmother. I wish I could watch them grow up, be at their graduations, their weddings. But wishing doesn't change reality. Reality is this. I'm a 63-year-old woman living alone in a house I fought to keep. I have good neighbors, new friends, and money in the bank that's actually mine. I have my dignity. I have my peace. I have my voice. And some days, that's enough. Tell me, was I wrong for fighting back? Should I have just let it go to keep the peace? You tell me in the comments. Because even now, I don't have all the answers. I just have my truth. And my truth is this. I loved my children with everything I had. I sacrificed. I suffered. I gave until there was nothing left to give. And when they took the last thing I had and called me unstable for being hurt, I finally said, enough. I finally chose myself. Maybe that makes me a bad mother. Maybe that makes me selfish. Maybe that makes me everything they said I was. Or maybe, just maybe, it makes me human. A woman who finally learned that love shouldn't destroy you, that family shouldn't abuse you, that standing up for yourself isn't weakness, it's strength. I'm still learning that lesson. Every day. But I'm learning. And if there's one thing I want you to take away from my story, it's this. You teach people how to treat you. And if the people who are supposed to love you can't treat you with basic respect, you have every right to walk away. Even if they're blood. Even if it breaks your heart. Even if it means losing everything. Because you are worth more than their comfort. You are worth more than their convenience. You are worth more than being called a burden by people who should be calling you blessed. Remember that, baby. Remember that you matter. I forgot it for a while. Let my children convince me I was the problem. But I remember now. And I hope you do too. God bless you. Thank you for listening to my story. It wasn't easy to tell, but it needed to be told. You're not alone if you're going through something like this. Speak up. Fight back. You deserve better. We all do.